There are many times within your automation process that you may want to determine if something is in session before you continue, or just confirm something's there before you run some particular logic. There are a couple of different ways to do this within NitroCell. This command that we're looking at right now is the oldest version of this command, and if we take a look at in session, it's a function that will actually return information about what is in creo session, but it'll return it as a string or an array of strings, not necessarily a Excel array, but a array of values, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. So if I put in like box PRT, and again, we don't have anything in session currently, it needs a place to write that to. So we're going to write that to sheet 8 in this case. So we'll write that to sheet 8, and we'll write it to B5 for the cell that it's going to write to. When we run this and we take a look at the result here, you'll see that in fact it did write out a false statement, but it's not a boolean false. It's a piece of text, so it's actually a string value. If we were to write out false, f let's spell it right, false, as a normal Excel value here, it would default to general, and it is actually a boolean value. So this is something we can use in logic. This is something that we have to handle differently because it's a string value. So that's just something to be a little bit aware of, is that this will write out string values. So if I open up, let's say, let's take a look for an ASM file here, and I'm going to open up one of the models that's in session. So we see that there's a basket in here, as well as cones and screens and everything else. I'm going to open up the cone, and let's change this to screen.prt and run this. And you'll notice that it says, yeah, there is a screen in session. And if we were to check that, yep, there it is right there. Okay, so the other neat thing about this is you can also do wildcards with it. So if you put in a star, like S star PRT, and write that, look at what this does. It actually writes out the number of matches as trues as a count with commas between them. Now this is a very old function that we've had around for a long time, and this is something you could handle in Excel using Excel formulas to kind of break this down. But in the end, it's probably not a good idea to use this function. It's better to look at table functions like the get file list or something like that, because you're going to get more control over not just does something exist, but also what its name is and everything else. So this is just a basic overview of how this works. It does work for drawings also. So if we had start.drw, we can see that when we run this, there's currently nothing in session. But if we open up, like for example, this drawing template and run it, we can see that it is in session, even though it was active here. Let's open up a different model. Let's go to like this model here and run it again, and it still shows it as a true value.